Hi guys, this is Reborn Baby Loves, and this is gonna be sort of a Reborn Mommy tag. It's not gonna be a lot of questions, but it's gonna be a couple. So, first of all, Mother's Day is coming up, and for you Reborn mommies, and maybe even real mommies with reborns that have reborns, do you plan on taking your baby out? And I'll answer my own questions as I go along. I do plan on taking her out just to yeah, I do plan on taking her out. Then then another question I have is, I'm sorry guys, I didn't actually write these questions down, so it's kind of hard, like I have to think of them off the top of my head. Maybe I should write them down. Which I had like three really unique questions that nobody else asked, and now I can't think of them. Really? Okay. Second one. Sorry about that, guys. If you have a birthday party for them, like, do you use the date they were delivered? Do you use like a special day, like, you know, for you? Like, do you use a special day, like, as their birthday, or do you use like the day they were finished being created, or do you use the day they were delivered? So that was another question I wanted to ask. Do you prefer open-eyed or closed-eyed? Oh, I'm gonna answer the last question. Sorry, guys. I am gonna use the date she was delivered for money purposes because in August I am moving. We are moving, so I was gonna say that I really need to, like, for money purposes I really need to, like, for money purposes, I really need to do it on the date she was delivered, which it was April 9th. So, do you prefer open-eyed or closed-eyed? I prefer both, but I think it depends on what you're going to be using them for. If you're going to take them out in public and get reactions, I think an open-eyed is better. If you're going to get reactions, but if you're just trying to, like, pretend like they're a real baby and go out in public and have people think they're real, like, I prefer closed-eyed. For just cuddling at home and maybe taking them out for like a couple minutes to a half an hour, I would prefer open-eyed just because you're not going to be out that long, so it doesn't really, like, matter, it doesn't really matter, like, people aren't going to notice that they're not, moving. I mean, they might, but like, what skin tones do you prefer? I personally prefer, like, Spanish because my husband is Spanish, or I prefer Caucasians, like, but with my husband's hair color and eye color. If I would get an open eyed, I would want my skin tone with my husband's hair color and hairstyle and eye color. So, yeah, I actually prefer Spanish skin tones because that's my husband's skin tone. That's about all the questions I can really think of. So, oh, and what is their name and how do you choose that? I know that's in another tag, but I'm just curious about people's answers. Like, what is their name and how did you choose it? Her name is Nevaeh, and I chose, actually her name is Nevaeh, but her full name is Nevaeh Mendez Ramos because putting a middle name in there would just be too much, it would just be too much. So, Nevaeh Mendez Ramos because Mendez Ramos is my husband's last name, and Nevaeh because I really don't know why I chose Nevaeh. I just always liked that name. I thought, if I ever have a real little girl, I'm gonna name her Nevaeh. So, And actually, when I was 15, I was pregnant, and I did not know if the baby was a boy or a girl, but if I thought back on it, I would think, I felt like it was a girl, so. And I always liked that name for a little girl, so I decided to name her Nevaeh. Yeah, that's about all the questions I can think of. How many reborns do you have? That's another good question. I have, as of right now, one. Just her. That's it. And I think, like, I personally, how many reborns do you think is enough, basically? That's another question. How many reborns do you think is enough? I think personally, for myself, I'm not speaking for anybody else. I think personally for myself, the most I could probably handle is like 2. Yeah, the most I could probably handle is like 2, maybe 3 at the absolute most, because I would feel like after 3, I wouldn't be able to, lavish individual attention, and I wouldn't be able to spend time with all of them and bond with all of them. I just wouldn't. Like, I could never have, more than like 3. I mean, yeah, I used to have tons of baby dolls when I was younger. Did I pay, like, attention to all of them? No. I had my favorites. That's why I downsized a lot. Like, I had my absolute favorites, so I took, like, a lot of places, and, most of them just sat on the shelf and got dusty, so what was the point, I don't want to, like, have a reborn, my reborns sit around and get dusty. Of course you can clean them, but I mean, if I have like 20 or more reborns, like how, I don't know, I just don't feel like there's, enough room in my heart and my home for more than like 3 reborns. Like, that's just me though. I mean, everyone's different, to each his own, but I just couldn't love more than, 3 reborns. And plus they'd all have to be different ages too, so I could pretend, so I could, like, pretend that, they were, like, like siblings, instead of having, like, or twins or something. Like, I would get, like, a 6-month-old baby and maybe, like, a 2-year-old toddler and, like, her, or something, or a 9-month-old baby and a 2-year-old toddler, so I could pretend, that I had, like, a family, of them, not just, 3 newborns, and that's crazy. But that's just me, so you guys, are welcome to your opinion. My opinion is I can't love more than 2 or 3. So I was actually planning on getting her a sibling, a little boy, and I want a toddler because, to me, toddlers are more fun. Personally, that's just me though. Toddlers are more fun. Because they're usually open-eyed and, wide awake, and they have a lot of energy. And I mean, of course, we're still talking about dolls, but they're better for pics. Basically, they're better for pics. I do have a couple really cute pics of her, though. Like, I do have a couple really cute pics of her, but that she looks like a toddler. But of course, her eyes aren't open. Like, if she was open-eyed, it'd be better. But I kind of prefer toddlers. I like her, don't get me wrong. That's, I love her and everything, but I just really like toddlers, and I would like to get a reborn toddler if possible, like a 9-month-old or something, like size of a 9-10-month-old. So, and take him out in public. And yes, it is definitely going to be a him. It is definitely going to be a him, because my husband wants a boy reborn, so we're gonna try to find one that looks like him. So I have little Mario, but he's not reborn, so yeah. Anyway, that's my video. That's my reborn tag and a little bit of randomness. So thanks for viewing. Bye.